Well, I thought I'd do a voiceover video on some drone footage I got, talking about flying a drone and the appropriate license that you need to fly it, and YouTube. I've got a little bit of a cold, so if I'm sneezing and hacking a little bit, that's what's going on. Uh, so we bought a drone, and as I mentioned before, I study things like an exam and try to learn as much as I can, and it was no different, with the drone. And one of the things that jumped out at me really quickly was legally to post monetized videos on YouTube. You're supposed to have a Part 107 pilot license. Now, does anybody ever get busted for not having it? I'm not really sure they do. I think a lot of times what happens, I don't know that there's a lot of fines or people getting busted, for posting YouTube drones and drone videos in the first place. I think what happens is somebody will report somebody that's flying recklessly, and the FAA, I think they're a reasonable organization. They're not like scanning the videos, uh, looking for violations. But if somebody reports somebody doing something dangerous, flying their drone, like at a NFL football game or something like that, you're probably going to hear from the FAA. And but nonetheless, I kind of like the idea of being compliant with the law. And so me and another family member, we decided that we would try to study and get our Part 107 license. And so what we did is we got watched some YouTube videos. We didn't pay any money for study material. I watched, in particular, Tony Northrup. If you just do a search in YouTube on his name, he has some great video. It's long, but I watched it and I scratched down the questions and notes on a pad. My dad told me one time when I was a boy, when you write things down, you tend to remember them, and that works with me. Maybe not for you, but I did that. I didn't study like for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time. I studied probably for 2 weeks, and it wasn't an every night thing. It was just mainly weekends, and and then my family member and I, we kind of bounced questions off of each other, kind of giving ourselves each other a quiz on the major things. And we went in and took the test on a Saturday morning at a testing center in the big city, and we both passed. And so I won't say the test was easy, but it wasn't. The material wasn't like really hard. The biggest thing is it's a lot of material, a lot to keep your hands on. Sectional charts, and they give you a book with a legend in it. A lot of the answers are right there. You just have to look them up. They'll ask you, what is the height of some tower, maybe. What is the they'll ask you what is the radio frequency for some airport, and you can go and you can look all that stuff up. The questions are multiple choice. There's three. Usually one of them is just a throwaway question. It's completely ridiculous, and you throw it out, and then you're down to two questions. And they give you some scratch paper when you go in, and so you really can't take anything in there with you. But so we took the exam. I made it a point to stay just about the entire time. But what I didn't do was go back through the test. I went back through it a second time, but I didn't go back through it like a third, fourth, and fifth time, second guessing myself. I thought I might confuse myself. And the reason I didn't study for months and months like some people do is because I felt like if I could retain the info fresh and then go take my test, within a couple of weeks, I would probably be in a better position to remember it and pass. I mean, if I learned a tidbit of info and then 2 months later went to take my test, I might have forgot that info. So that was kind of my strategy. And so we both passed, and we really haven't made very many videos. The timing is just such that uh, it's hard. We have a drone that you know you have to watch the drone, you have to pilot the drone. It's not one of these autonomous drones that'll follow you around. I know DJI has some drones that have, they call it follow me mode, and Skydio is another drone outfit. They have a drone that it'll like follow a dirt bike through the woods, and it won't crash. And but it's pricey. Sometimes you get north of $2,000 for a drone, and I'm thinking, I could buy a tractor for $2,000. So it was advantageous for a couple of us in the family to get the drone license, and then like in this video, I'm driving, and my other family member is flying the drone, and they're kind of out in the middle of the field instead of out on one end where they can get a better direct line of sight of the drone as they fly it, and so that works out pretty good. But it kind of limits because you can fly the drone while you drive a tractor, but it's hard to hold a straight line, and a lot of people do. A lot of people do that, but it's better if you can have somebody else, or you can just swing the cash and buy you one of these autonomous drones that has the follow me mode, which we might do one of these days. So our drone it's a Mavic Mini. We just bought the basic drones. I bought I have a video on it. You can look for that. It's got, I bought what's called the Fly More package, which came with a case and 3 batteries. And the batteries are supposed to have like a 30 minute run time, but I think by the time you get the drone in the air, and if you want to safely get it back to the ground, because when the battery gets low, the drone will just go off on its own and fly back to the home point that it identified when it first took off. And that's kind of unnerving when the drone goes up in the air and you're like, I'm not sure I can intervene. You can, but when you're new, it's kind of startling. So we generally, as a rule of thumb, we'll fly the drone for about 20 minutes, and then we'll switch out the batteries. And 20 times 3 is 60 minutes. How much video do you do you really need? And it does fine for us. It's not like 4K video, but maybe I'll regret that one of these days. But it seems to look okay on my TV. I mean, keep in mind, I grew up with 16 millimeter film and VHS tapes, so and AM radio. So it's not like I cut my teeth on the latest 21st century technology. But I think it does a nice job of picking up the equipment and recording. And you can buy there's a Mavic Mini 2, and then I think Walmart sells basically what I've got. It's called a Mavic Mini SE, and then they have the Mavic. I think it's called the Mavic Air 2. It has some follow me capabilities. There's some other drone makes. I think it's called Atuel, Atuel or something. I can't pronounce it, and I certainly can't spell it. But they have some drones, and some people like them, and some people don't. Some of the criticism I get of that brand drone is, they have a model change after a few years, and I don't know if it's true or not, but this is what I've heard. I'm just telling you what I heard. They'll drop support for the drone, and look, if you need a new battery or a new gimbal or something for your drone, you're just out of luck. You got to buy another $2,000 drone. And so, but the good thing about their drones is they're physically large, and they're painted kind of a reddish orange. It reminds me of Alice Chandler's. And I should think you could really be able to see those off in the distance. Uh, the DJI drones are just kind of the standard, The Skydio, it's called a Skydio 2, and it has a really short battery life, I think, for such an expensive drone. It has a short battery life. And I think it's a great drone. I just don't know that, I'm ready to spend that kind of money. And we don't make enough money on these YouTube videos to be buying expensive drones anyway. I mean, we just don't. Uh, if we ever get to be like some really hot channel, maybe we'll upgrade some of that equipment. But, for now, we're pretty happy with the little DJI Mavic Mini, and we have enough batteries and battery life to make a video like you see right here. And I don't know. I think it's pretty neat. I think this drone footage is really neat, and we're still learning. You see, there's a YouTube channel called, I think it's called Wise Family Sheep, and they put out a video like once a month. It's usually just a real short video, and they have some fantastic music in the background. And I feel like they are excellent with their drone work. They're zooming, they're zooming in and out and flying over. We're just kind of following the tractor on this one. We're not kind of swooping down and across it. And we've learned that this is pretty nice, but you can really get some nicer effects by just kind of flying over top. And you see there, if you look at that video channel, you know what I'm talking about. And but my John Deere baler, this was a light second cutting, and this particular cut right here was very light, and I'm traveling a little faster than maybe I normally would to keep the pickup full. My John Deere baler is doing a great job pounding out a nice tight square bale. And the Massey 1105 is just a wonderful tractor. It matches up with that baler great. Our wagons, they can use some help. We don't have the greatest of kicker wagons. They're kind of slapped together with old lumber and old running gears. I don't spend a lot of money on wagons because we don't have shelter to keep them out of the weather. And so maybe one of these days I'll get some of those nice steel wagons. Our wagons are typically 8 feet wide and 16 feet long. And I'd like 9 by 18, which I think is like a standard wagon, like an H&S that has flare sides on it. That would be nice. I have a little bit of concern about some of our lighter tractors. We run our John Deere 5055D tractor with this baler and these wagons, and it does a great job. But obviously, we want to stay off the hills with them. Even staying off the hills with the Massey Ferguson, just from a jackknife standpoint. But been really happy with the Massey 1105 and the John Deere. The yellow tank on the baler is a hay preservative applicator. People ask me about it. It has buffered propionic acid. It does not rust the baler. It has a pH right near where water's at. And, if we got a thunderstorm coming and the hay is just a little bit higher in moisture, we can get it baled and off the field. And we like the kicker because, I can come up here on the farm by myself after work and bale the hay and get it off the field in one pass. That's what works for us. I know everybody's going with accumulator grapples and things like that. So I'm going to stop it right here. I appreciate you watching, and we'll talk again.